Hey there, this is Mrs. Carey. I am recording this lesson today in the hopes that I will be able to save my voice because if you can't tell, I'm very scratchy, very froggy. This weekend I caught whatever cold was going around and haven't had much of a voice until today. And I have a feeling tomorrow my voice might be, by 7th and 8th period, it might be pretty shot. So I'm going to try and record this today and see how it goes. And if you have questions, you'll be able to refer back to this video. So hopefully it's something that will be useful to you. So, all right. So I want to talk a little bit about what we're doing today. Today's goal for our by the end of today, I want you to be able to flash draft an entire essay in your writer's notebooks on the admirable character, the third little pig. Now, feel free to use the reasons and evidence we've shared in class or use your own. But I'm only going to give you, that says 13, I'm going to give you 15 minutes to write the entire essay. Because we've talked about it for 2 days, I think you guys can handle flash drafting the entire essay today. So, all right, so going back, let's talk a little bit about where we were. All right, so we started out with writing a claim or a thesis statement. Remember, it started with, the third little pig is an admirable character. That's just a statement. But to make it a claim, we had to add reasons. So we added because he is hardworking, because he is brave, and most of all because he is intelligent. Now, I know different classes had different versions of that. Some people said it's because he outwitted his enemy. Some people said because he was prepared. It's okay. When it comes to your own essay, you can include those reasons. But for this purpose, I'm going to use these examples since these are the ones I talked most with the other classes. Okay, so all right, whoops, Miss Carey's messing up. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we did in our first draft, first paragraph, first body paragraph. So we said in the first body paragraph, the first reason that the third little pig is admirable is that he works very hard. That was our first reason from the thesis statement. Then we came in and we added he builds his own home, and that was a lot of work. Some classes had something about the bricks, and I can't remember exactly, but I think we added that in the next sentence. Yeah. So we said he builds his own home, and that was a lot of work, and then he builds it out of bricks, which took extra work. So there is an example, and if we were to do this in that format that I was showing you earlier, I would be able to type here and this would be working. Hold on. Okay, so in this slide, we added that next sentence, for example. So we state the first reason in the first sentence. Then the second sentence starts with, for example, he builds his own home and that was a lot of work. Then we added, he builds it out of bricks, which took extra work. So that is additional proof that he's a hard worker. Then we added one more sentence. He even carried bricks or he carried heavy bricks, and he even built a roof and a chimney. Okay, so that was just to add to the example. So then we come back and we say, okay, let's repeat our claim. So we said, this shows that the third little pig works hard, and that is admirable. So if you notice in the first sentence, we say the first reason that the third little pig is admirable is that he works very hard. The very last sentence of the paragraph shows we basically go back and restate the claim. This shows that the third little pig works hard, and that is admirable. So that's basically a warrant or analysis. After citing an example, so looking at this first point, you need to add something like this shows or this illustrates. And so you need to analyze what you just gave as an example. So on Friday, I had some kids giving me examples saying, oh, he was a hard worker, and then they were putting something in there about how he stood up to the wolf. Well, no, that doesn't fit, because in this case, we were trying to show how he works hard. And so we had to think of an example that fit the reason that we gave. So if you say something like, the third little pig is an admirable character because he works very hard, great. Your example has to fit, though, that reason. It can't be about something else, like, oh, he works very hard and the wolf was dumb. No, that has nothing to do with it. You're talking about how he's a hard worker. And at the end of it, you restate the claim and you also analyze that warrant, and you say, this is how it shows, this evidence or this example shows that he's a hard worker. Okay, so and then you explain how the example fits the claim about the third little pig. All right, so we just kind of did that in our first paragraph. We did all these things. Next, we go to, what's the next slide? The next slide is, okay, so what did you just do? So we created a claim, and oops, Miss Carrie went too far. Hang on. Okay, so we created a claim, and then in our first body paragraph, I repeated the claim and the first way that it is supported. That's what I did in the very first sentence of the first body paragraph. Then you told the story of an incident in the story that supports the claim. Back to the, remember, it has to fit the reason. So if I say, he was a hard worker, then we want to talk about the heavy bricks and building a chimney and all the extra things that he did. Then you close the paragraph by saying a bit about how the example supports the claim. And then you restated what you're aiming to prove. This shows that he was a hard worker. Boom. So look at all that. Bam. In just those first few sentences, you've done all of these things. That's kind of awesome. So let's look at the second body paragraph. Some of us got close. We got close to finishing this in class. Some classes were closer than others, but I'm going to go over this quickly, and then I'm going to turn you guys loose to start writing on your own. So the second reason, and we didn't say, you could say the second reason, but here we started with another reason why the third little pig is admirable, is that he is brave, okay? So we're focusing on that second reason in our claim, his bravery, okay? Next slide. So we added that. So we have that first part of the second reason in our claim is, and that's our first sentence in our second body paragraph. And then we come up with an incident from the story to support that reason. So we said he watched a scary, giant, angry wolf destroy his brother's houses and eat them. All right. So that was kind of a scary thing. And so we're saying that that's one of the things that makes him brave. Then we go on and we added, however, when the wolf came to his, came to his house, he was brave. So that's our second, or supporting that incident. Then we said he didn't run and he didn't hide. So there's one more piece of why he was so brave. So here we're giving an example, and then we're analyzing that example and saying, why does that make him brave? Well, after seeing your brothers get eaten, you could have turned tail and run, but he didn't. He didn't run and he didn't hide. And then we could go on and add, instead, when the wolf called him, he said, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin, right? He said, bring it, big bad wolf, bring it. So that was more example of how he was brave. Then we come back and say, then we go with that shows. And we could have said this illustrates, or we could have said this shows, but we said in this case we're saying that shows that he is brave because he is not intimidated by the big scary wolf. Okay, so this last sentence is that analysis of the evidence, and it's also going back and restating that claim. So if you look, another reason he is admirable is because that he is brave. And then we say he is brave because he's not intimidated by the big scary wolf. So we're reiterating or restating our claim there. Okay, so let's look here. All right, so at this point, you are going to flash draft an entire essay, and I want you to go back and use, excuse me, let me go back here. Let's get back to the first slide. Let's go back to the claim or thesis. You're going to start with the claim or thesis. You're going to have all of this in here, the third little pig. And what I'd like for you to do is, after you write this thesis statement in your notebook, put a box around it. Draw a box. Let's see if Miss Carrie can draw a box around this without breaking something here. What am I doing? I want to do a box. There we go. Shape. All right. So we're going to draw a box around this. Wish me luck. All right. Let's see how I do. Oh, I'm doing pretty good. It's purple. I kind of like that. Whoops, a little dark. Okay. Let's go here. And let's send it to the back so that way we can see everything. Okay. So here's our box. Our box is that shows that that's our claim or thesis statement. I want everybody to copy that idea and put a box around your claim or thesis statement in your notebook so I can see that you have written a claim or thesis statement. Now, if you have something different, obviously feel free. I'm okay with, if you don't want to use these examples, you can. You don't have to, but you can use hardworking, brave, and intelligent. You can use all three of those examples. If you want to go wild and do something different, go for it. But just remember, when you start writing your first body paragraph, you're going to say the first reason that the third little pig is admirable is, boom, that first reason. And then the very next sentence is going to start with, for example. Do not start with anything other than for example. I want to see that you're going to start with an incident from the story that shows how he, and if you're using very hard, that he works very hard, I want it to be an example that shows how he works very hard. And then I want you to build upon that. Then I want you to show me that you go back and you have that next phrase that says, this shows. So make sure that you are analyzing that evidence, and you're also restating your claim. So in this sentence, you're saying, this shows. What does this show? What did these incidents show? They show that he's a hard worker, and that is admirable. So that's how we're going to go back and restate our claim. Notice, third little pig is admirable because he works very hard. Yes. And then you're going to come back here, and you're going to, at the very last sentence of that first paragraph, you're going to say, this shows that he is blah, 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 and that is admirable. Okay. Because that's us going back and restating our claim. All right. So notice that's the goal for today. You can go back and look through this video and check out the different slides if you need to go back and refresh your memory about what kind of examples to use. If you have a different example, that's okay. Just make sure it fits whatever your reason is. So I'm going to give you 15 minutes starting now, and good luck. And if you have questions, I'm going to let you guys go back and review this essay. Okay, go, go, go.